And welcome everybody to the Juice is Loose number 73 special edition Saturday night episode. Tonight we'll be discussing our top 5 games of 2015, and I'm just going to give a disclaimer right now and get it over with. For anyone watching this, this is pretty much all of us will played mostly Wii U this year or 3DS. I think every game on our lists are all Nintendo games. So just be warned, and it's not because we hate all the other games and systems. We just didn't play them, especially me. I didn't have another system other than my PC this year, so just wanted to get that disclaimer out there. So I should have probably just said top 5 Nintendo games of 2015, but so yeah, let's get to the guests. We have one more guest joining a little bit late. Derek Steelfox is running behind schedule, so why don't you? We'll start with finally back on the Juice is Loose. ASAP Rel, man, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's good to be back on.
I can't remember the last time. It's
Yeah,
been a
baby.
while.
This baby. So I can't do much. So
hmm Have you been on since Splatoon's come out? That's what I'm trying to think.
Probably.
yeah, I think maybe Juice. I'm
I
not
think
sure.
maybe once. So,
Yeah, but it's good to be back, man, with my fellow Nintendos.
yep. So, and then you heard the laugh, and you see his icon there. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yo, what's up, guys? It's the Insane Game Freak here. They just keep calling me back. I try to leave. New Year's and everything. He was like, "Man, come on, man, we need you." I was like, "All right, I got you."
Yeah, and like I said, Derek Steelfox will be joining in a little bit. So instead of getting right into the top 5, I just going to spring this on you guys. I'm going to do a couple honorable mentions for some indie games that didn't make my top 5, but I wanted to give them some shout outs for some pretty impressive stuff. One's full indie game, the other's an indie dev game that was published by Microsoft. So I'm going to start with Fast Racing Neo. Just what a feat for 3 or 4 people. The game, as far as I haven't had it lock up on me yet, but I've only played online for like 30 minutes. But really getting into that game, and Supersonic, I finally finished that and unlocked the Hypersonic, which I don't even know if I want to try. But I just want to give Shinin a shout out for an excellent game. And if you've got a Wii U and you like any kind of racing games, or you want to try something for $15, it's a no-brainer. So the other game I want to mention is Ori and the Blind Forest. I picked that up on the Steam sale a few days ago, maybe 4 or 5 days ago, and only got 3 hours in, so I couldn't really justify putting it on my list, but it is an excellent platformer, Metroidvania style, with just some of the best art style I've seen in a platformer. It's just amazing. Music, everything's pretty spot on with far superior controls to most indie platformers that I've played. So those 2 games, just wanted to give them an acknowledgement. They didn't make my list, but 2 quality games. So either of you have any honorable mentions or a standout indie game if it's not on your top 5 list?
I, I got I'll put my honorable mention. I'll put Yoshi's Woolly World
Okay.
because it kind of got. I don't know. I loved it a lot in the beginning, but when I was watching one of Terrell's videos, he was just kind of saying like, kind of burnt out on platformers. I hate to say that because I love platformers, but I don't know, just towards the end, it just started getting a little, I don't know, it just started getting long for me for some reason. I don't know why. It's just like all the collecting and all that stuff. So I would put it
Yeah.
as an honorable mention. I enjoyed it when I first had it. I think I put like 40 hours into it, especially, replaying all levels because, you're trying to 100% everything.
hmm
Because it's kind of competition between me and you. So, I gotta post it on Meverse, make sure you see, and then I gotta take a picture too, and then post it in our group chat so I can make sure you saw. So,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's like I'm gonna make you feel it.
yeah.
I'll talk about that game when I get to the top 5, so I'll save my comments on that
Uh,
game for
uh,
then.
I got 2. I got The Binding of Isaac Rebirth, which has been pretty fun. I just haven't been able to play a lot of it. I played like a few hours, and I didn't feel like that was justifiable enough to put it on. Like, even though the Binding of Isaac essentially is a game that you can beat in like an hour, probably less than an hour because of how short it is, but it's so randomized. Like, that game has infinite replayability. I'm not into it as some other people we know are, but I enjoyed it. And then the other one's probably Freedom Planet, which my only other reasoning for that is I haven't played it enough, and I'm a Sonic fan, which is why it's an honorable mention.
And I just thought of something else we could do, trying to delay the start of the top five till Derek gets here. But best game you played this year that was like a on your backlog that came out before 2015. I'm gonna start with Shantae and the Pirate's Curse on the Wii U. That was a port of the 3DS game. I'm not sure when the 3DS game came out, but
No, it was 2014. They both came out. Yeah.
okay. At first, I was regretting the purchase in the first like 10 minutes. I was kind of skipping because I was hoping they'd update the visuals a little bit more, like they what game was it?
Mighty Switch Force.
My Switch Force HD or Hyperdrive Edition. If they had done that, this game would have probably. I mean, I would have put it on my top five list like for this year because that's the only thing that was lacking because it was just fun, the gameplay, everything about it. I put almost 20 hours into that game, and so that was one of the backlog games I played this year, along with Guacamelee and Kirby's Epic Yarn. But Shantae and the Pirate's Curse to me was the best one. So I don't know if you guys had any games you caught up on this year that were from previous years. If you don't, then we can just start with the top five.
The only game I can think of off the top of my head, and it's on the 3DS, is I finally finished Kirby Triple Deluxe on the 3DS because I had been meaning. I had bought the game when it came out, and I never actually sat down and beat it. And I beat that, I think, right before Splatoon came out. That is probably the funnest Kirby game I've played in like the longest time because I love that game. I was surprised how much I liked that game. But that's the only one. That's the only backlog game I beat this year.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're also Mike, New World Order for Life, who's been on my podcast many times. He texted me his top five, so I'm gonna read his. We'll start with five, and I'm gonna start with him. He gave Splatoon number 5, and just a disclaimer for Mike, he got a second job for the summer, and he was busy. He barely got to play Splatoon like in ideal conditions with us in like a group chat and playing all night. So he put it number 5 on his list, not having played it a whole lot this year. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to my number 5, and I didn't really tell you guys the format beforehand, but just say the name of the game and a few things that stood out to you, why it made that spot in the list. And also I'm going to give the play time that I put into each game as I go, just so everybody knows how much time I put in the game, so it's not like I just saying these things because, it's the popular game or something. I actually put some decent time into these games. So my number 5, and this was the easiest choice for me on the list. It got a little dicey in the 1 through 4, but it was Yoshi's Woolly World, and I put 37 hours 46 minutes into this game. I 100%ed all the way through World 5, and then I gave up on World 6 because it was just getting too challenging, too tedious, and it was just finishing the level with full health or whatever just got to the point where it was like it wasn't even fun anymore trying to do that. So, but some of the standout aspects was the art style, the overall visuals was amazing. The art or the yarn aesthetic was well implemented. Every little thing on screen was some kind of fabric, buttons, needles. It was just really well thought out. And the aesthetic was very cohesive from beginning to end, and just a bunch of cool little touches. That Nintendo magic. The controls were spot on. I said in my video, this game controls as well as any other platformer Nintendo's ever made. The music's great, and the level design's really clever. A lot of the levels, one from the next game, would be completely different. They didn't repeat too many ideas with the level design, so that's why Yoshi made it to number 5 on my list. And Derek joined just in time. We just got started with our top 5s. So why don't you say hello, and then we'll continue. Hopefully your mic's working. We don't hear you. We don't hear you if you're talking. So.
Foxy.
Yeah, Fox. All right. I guess just talk, and if we respond, then we can hear you. So I guess we'll go to ASAP Rel next. What's your number 5?
I'll put number 5, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. When I got the game, I wasn't really I didn't think it was gonna be that great, but playing it with the art style and the gameplay, just the gameplay in general. I know some people didn't like the gameplay with the stylus and always having to look down at the gamepad, but I don't know, the game, it was a good game. It was a really good game. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that and Yoshi were like my 2 choices for 5, and I think the only thing, it was just a little short, I guess. But for me, I only put like 23 hours and 100% in it, so.
I put about the same amount of hours, but I don't know. I just had more fun with that game than I
Yeah,
was with Yoshi.
it was definitely unique. Nothing else with that kind of gameplay.
Yeah.
All right, Derek, can we hear you? Mic check number 2.
Well, he has his mic muted now.
Now I should be good. What do you
Yep.
think?
Yeah.
I was actually speechless because I saw that Rel was here. And I was trying to pick my jaw up off the floor.
What's up, Foxy?
Hey, good to see you, man.
All right.
You know, at least your emblem.
So we started with some honorable mentions, and I don't know if you have any, but if you do, you can say them real quick. If you don't, then we're going to go to Terrell for his number 5.
We'll jump right over to Terrell. I can skip over that.
No, okay. My number 5 was Mario Maker. I only have about 13 hours in that.
What?
Dude, it's like I said in the video. For those who are curious, I actually already have a video up for my top 5 games. So if you want a spoiler alert, you can go over and look at it. But if you don't, my reasoning really, Mario Maker is not the type of game I was gonna be interested in to begin with. Like, I thought the concept was cool, but it was never anything I was like, oh my god, excited for. Like, it wasn't even like a hype level game. That was like a cool game that I probably would pick up, and I ended up getting it. And I got into it for a little while, but my biggest issue is it's kind of like what I've said before, and kind of a spoiler alert for this list. I'm kind of burnt out on platformers. I mean, it was one of the things I complained about the Wii U when it first came out. It was like all the major games for like the first year, except for maybe something like Wonderful 101 and like a few other games, were all platformers. And after playing all of those, I was just like, so when Mario Maker came around, I was like, I enjoyed it, but it's like, I'm not in a hurry to go back to it. But it's one of those games I'll casually mess around with. But it's my number 5 just because the genre was in. Wrong timing. That's the short answer.
No, that's fair enough.
I will say it's probably the coolest level creator I've messed around with. But it is very user friendly, and I didn't have any problems just getting in there and making levels. And it also just made me really appreciate like level design, especially like Mario level design. I was like, wow, it kind of kills me that some of the games it was like each Koopa is put there for a specific reason. So I gained a new appreciation for game design, if nothing else.
And I think the problem you had was every level you made was you're trying to make a Sonic level. So I think maybe you're just a little confused.
Sir, I knew that was gonna come out of nowhere. I was like, he's gonna throw it in my face. All right.
Where's the loop-de-loops?
Yeah.
You can't probably do that in a
Number
Mario
5.
game anyway.
Every level I played from him it seemed like it had Sonic in it.
I think he made 4 levels. They were all Sonic. But
No,
anyway.
I made a little Mac and a Palutena level. I'll leave that.
Let's go to Derek Steel Fox because he doesn't have a video out, so I don't know his top 5. So I'm curious to hear what his number 5 game is.
All right, so I kind of went through. Thankfully, the Wii U keeps track of everything I've played to see kind of where I spent a lot of my time this year on games that came out this year. And there was one I had completely forgot about. I put a little bit of time in, and when I looked at it, I was like, oh, that was... So my number 5 was an indie game, Citizens of Earth.
Nice. Yeah, I knew you picked up an indie game. I couldn't remember which one
Yeah,
it
it came
was.
out January, so almost a year ago. I had forgotten about it, but I had a good amount of play time, and I enjoyed it.
What was some of the things that were good about it?
Okay, well, it had kind of an interesting take on the turn-based battle mechanic. That is where you have like little orbs that act as energy, where some attacks or actions will give you one, and some will take one away. And then there was just like 26 or 28, something like that. Probably think more than that characters to collect into different quests. So, and they were all pretty unique. So just kind of neat to see how all that was laid out. Plus, it was a pretty long game. It definitely was had some slowdowns and a few bugs, and you could exploit it. It wasn't a flawless RPG,
Mm-hmm.
but I did enjoy playing through it.
Cool. So yeah, we'll stick with you. We'll go back and forth. So now we'll take it to your number 4, and then we'll go back into the reverse order what we just did. So
Perfect, absolutely, I love it. Here's number 4. It's one I don't think anyone ever really talked about, and it came out in October. Legend of Legacy. Now that game, if there weren't so many other great games, I probably would have given it a higher spot. That is an RPG game for the 3DS. It came out, like I said, in October. People were always comparing it to like Bravely Default or Bravely Default, and art style was similar, but the combat was more reminiscent of like Saga Frontier, at least the first one, which is an older PlayStation game, which I really enjoyed that game, and I like this one for the same reason. It was just, it's a very unforgiving, very, very difficult game that it's rough. It's not easy, and it's a tough game, but I appreciate it for that, and
yeah,
that's all it was trying to do, and that's why I like it.
yeah. I remember you saying something about that game back then, but I didn't hear anybody else talk about it. So you might have been one of the only few people I know that bought it. If I
Yeah,
know.
they put the demo out there, and I was like, this game is not very easy, but it reminded me, like I said, of how the Saga Frontier games worked, and
Mhm.
I really enjoyed that mechanic.
All right. So next up, Terrell, number 4.
All right. My number 4 is a surprise number 4. I knew I was gonna play this game when it came out. I just didn't expect to like it as much as I did. And recently just finished doing all the main stuff for it. And that's Fatal Frame: Maiden of the Black Water, aka Fatal Frame 5. I have about 33 hours into the game. I was just kind of considering this was my first Fatal Frame game. So I was really surprised how much I got into the lore and the atmosphere, and I love the battle system. I love the camera fighting in Fatal Frame. That was surprisingly deep, and I probably would say that's probably one of the best gamepad usages of this year. And granted, this year had a lot of good gamepad usage, but I just really enjoyed the atmosphere, the characters, the story. So the ball and just the fight mechanics were so good. But yeah. The only
Nice.
reason why it's so low is because it's one of those games that I feel like you'll play once and then you'll be good. That's probably the only problem with it.
Yeah. Do you feel any different about it because you beat it after you did your initial list? Did anything change?
I was surprised how tame the endings were. I don't know, for a horror game, I'm surprised that like most of the endings are pretty like there's only really one out of the 3 characters you play as, there's only really one character that has a bad ending that ends up with them dying. Everyone, all the rest of them are pretty just safe.
Mm-hmm.
They're not necessarily like positive, but they're not. The other characters aren't going through no suicide attempts. So yeah.
Spoilers.
Well, kind of spoilers. I'll say that.
All right, ASAP Rel, dying to hear your number 4.
Codename Steam.
Ooh.
Oh my boy.
I just I think I had like only like 23 hours in it, and it's a game I always wanted to come back to because I had stopped playing it for another game. but
Hmm.
I started playing it again, and man, it's good. I mean, art style, the gameplay. I mean, this. I'm not really a big story guy, so I mean, the story is kind of whatever. But like, just the art style, the way it looks like a comic book, and the characters. I mean, the weird characters that they have in the game. Well, not weird, but you kind of can see where they're coming from, and just the gameplay, how you move the units, and you use the steam. It's a dope game. I'm loving it, man. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm upset that I didn't finish it earlier.
Hey, can I ask you a question about that game?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Did you unlock the characters with your amiibo?
I did Marth,
Just Marth?
just Marth.
Okay.
I didn't open up Robin and Lucina because I have like extras, but they're like my
Mhm.
daughter's collection, but really they're like my second collection.
Right.
So I'm kind of working on still trying to get those other ones, but she has quite a bit, man. She has like over 40 of them
God.
Nice.
that they're hers, but she can't touch them and play with them. So,
I will say I have unlocked all 4 of the amiibo characters for Steam. If you were curious.
okay, how are they? Because I didn't like mine.
Um, Marth is pretty cool. I probably would say my favorite is Ike because he hits so hard,
Okay,
and Lucina because she can get around the map really quick.
all right.
But I'm gonna say if you use Lucina in the early map, she'll kind of break the game, kind of. Because I went back, I didn't start using the amiibo until after I beat the game. But I went back and played some of the earlier stages. I was like, wow, she can cheat a lot of these stages.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Her special ability allows you to dash forward and skip past like enemies for like a good like 6 or 7 spaces. So even if there's like this giant ambush of enemies at the end, you can literally use her special and to just cheat it.
is
'Cause
it like it's like Dorothy's?
yeah, I didn't
Okay.
want to spoil that because I didn't know
Oh,
if
my
anyone
bad. Dang.
didn't know
All right.
about it. But her, yeah, I think almost every one of the specials are pretty similar. Like Ike's is like, what's the black dude's name? John Henry, I believe.
Yeah.
Ike's is like that. I haven't played with Robin yet, so I
Mhm.
don't know what his special is. I have him unlocked. I just haven't used him in an actual match yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lucina's is Dorothy's, Ike's is John Henry's, and Martha, I believe, is the healing one, right? So his is like Tiger Lily's.
Yeah, I didn't. I used him one time and he like died immediately, so I did not put him. So I was
See,
like,
that just tells you pretty boys can't fight.
yeah, I was like, you're done. You're not coming back.
And one of my New Year's resolutions for 2016 is to actually take that game out of the cellophane.
I was gonna ask you that.
It's almost been a year and it's still in the plastic. I just
Yeah.
can't bring myself to open it.
Just play the game,
Yeah,
dude.
you'll like it. It's tight.
I played the demo and I hated how long the enemy's turn took. I know they
Oh,
patched that.
Yeah, they patched it. It's actually disgustingly quick now.
It needs to be instant, but so I am gonna cheat. I don't have a number 4. I have 2 games tied at 3.
What? So you have a
So-
5 and 2 threes. Is that
This
what
is
you
his
said?
show.
Yes.
He makes the rules.
So I'm gonna read the first one. I'm gonna read as number 4, and then I'm not
Wait,
gonna read
did you do Mike's for?
I'll do his
Oh,
after at the
okay.
end. So tied for 3rd is Fatal Frame, Made in Blackwater, with 45 hours and 27 minutes logged in the game. I wasn't expecting to even like the game. I was interested after it was the Treehouse E3. You know, when I made that video saying how I thought Nintendo still won E3 because of the Treehouse and all that. That was one of the games that they showed that most people didn't even tune in for, and it really sold me on that it wasn't just Heavy Rain or Until Dawn, and it wasn't just cinematics and press a button. Once I saw there was actually gameplay and exploration, I was excited. Then I tried the free to start demo, and by the time you get to chapter 2, you're using the camera and getting into some really tense combat, and I was just like, yeah, this game, I bought it immediately after I got to the end point of the demo or whatever. I immediately bought it. So the atmosphere in this game is the best atmosphere in a game I've experienced probably since Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube. Not the most high quality textures if you get close to the ground and stuff, but there's all this foliage, there's fog, there's rain, there's water, really cool, really impressive water effects, and a good light engine with the her flashlight or his or her, depending on which character you are. The flashlight really sells the tension because you can't like quite see everything, and then when you shine your flashlight on it, and like I said, the lighting engine in the game is really impressive, and just the overall atmosphere is just amazing. It's one of the best looking games on the Wii U in my opinion. Because of that, it's not the most technically impressive, textures and all that, but just like with Xenoblade Chronicles, still a very impressive looking game. The combat equally as impressive as the atmosphere. Like Terrell said, just a lot of depth to it. It's fun. It's engaging. Like I replayed missions over and over just because the combat's so fun, and I want to try to get better scores and get like you get a ranking system in the game at the end of the chapter. And then the character models are just some of the best I've seen on Wii U. Period. I mean, easily. And the hair is probably the weakest part of it, but they took like anime style characters and mixed that with like realistic looking characters and kind of blended it for like a perfect blend, like of both best of both worlds, I guess. So I was just impressed with the overall presentational package. The sound design's fantastic, awesome use of 5.1 surround sound, and it's genuinely scary game. I played it with the lights off, and there's some genuine scares in there, and some really good cinematics using the in-game engine, and a pretty compelling story. So that's why it's tied for third. It's a awesome single-player game, and I always say an awesome single-player game will trump an awesome multiplayer game, but in this case, without spoiling anything, I'll explain the rest of that later. So yeah, that's my tied for number 3 spot. We'll go to Mike's list. A game I can't remember if it was a 3DS game. Stella Glow.
Yeah, it's a 30S.
Yeah, he gave that a number 4. I can't remember his reason why he said he liked it, but and then his number 3 was Batman Arkham Knight. His PS4, he got the Batman edition, limited edition, whatever. He was pretty excited about. I think that's the only game he played on it so far. So he marked that number 3 on his list. He said he really liked the storyline in this, even though a lot of diehard Batman fans thought it was pretty predictable and stuff.
It was.
And he said the Batmobile actually got pretty. Once you got used to it, he said he was really like driving around the city. So that was his number 3. So I'll go to my other number 3 game, and I was just playing it a little bit ago and beasting on it. That is Splatoon. So this was tied for Fatal Frame, like I said. I couldn't decide. They both are just that impressive to me for completely different reasons. Splatoon's all about fun with your friends online multiplayer, doing Google Hangouts, laughing our asses off. And that wasn't enough, though. It was actually the final boss battle that won me over and had this game tied for third instead of being fourth. I went back and replayed that. I did all the amiibo challenges within the last couple weeks, and just the single player was good. Could have been a lot longer, but that final boss battle was one of the best boss fights of, last 10, 15 years easily for me. It was just amazing. The music and the character customization and the weapons, the gear, all that stuff is just a really cool experience. Nothing else like it. And I put 114 hours and 58 minutes into that game, and I'm level 31, and it's just one of the better games I played this year. And it's a tough choice from 1 to 4, like for me, or 1 to 3. They're all like really close, so none of these were easy decisions for me. So next we'll go back to ASAP Ralph for his number 3.
My number 3 is Splatoon 2, man.
All right.
Yeah, game looks good. The online is what keeps you coming back. Like I said, I was telling you off air, I was getting kind of burnt out because of the rollers, but then I was trying out the new Piranha Pit, and I'm hooked again. I want to, I want to go play, and everything about the game, and the single player is more icing on the cake than anything else. But like you said, that boss battle, all the other boss battles were kind of easy, and then
Mhm.
when you get to that one, it's like a spike in difficulty. All of a sudden, it kind of catches you off guard. And I didn't think that I would enjoy playing it a second time, but I came over. I'm at my parents' house right now, and I came over to my dad, and I helped him out with it, helped him finish it up, and he was like, "Yeah, man, lucky you came over here to finish that, because I don't think I would have been able to beat this guy." Yeah, it's rough, the difficult, how it goes up in difficulty, but I mean the replay value. I mean, all the stuff that you can buy. I did the amiibo challenges, so the game it's got 200 hours. I got 200 hours in it on my Wii U, so
Damn.
it's well worthy. It's worthy of the 3 spot.
And it's definitely worthy of a $60 purchase. I forgot to mention
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. I gotta
Of
mention that.
course.
Yeah,
This game is more complete now. I mean, it's more than 90% of the games out there as far as content and replay value. But even at launch, it was still a pretty complete package. But obviously, we knew what was coming. They told us basically we're getting 5, 6 maps and all these weapons right before the game came out. So it's not like it was a surprise. So um, I know that to some people they can't admit that they like the game, even though they have 200 plus hours in it more than I have it. There's people in this community that still can't admit they like that game. So kind of funny. But anyway, how about you, Terrell? What was your number 3?
Codename Steam.
Nice.
Well, see, I beat the game. I have about a little bit over 40 hours in it. I knew I was getting it. It was just I know a lot of people have issues with certain aspects of it. It's like, oh, you can't see the whole map, and oh, because I beat it before they patched it, so I didn't, get the privilege of having my alien turns sped up, and that didn't really bother me personally. And I love the creativeness with like the different characters. Like you had Queequeg, who has penguin bombs just sent out in a straight line direction, and you had Randolph, who had like the lure baits. Like there's a lot of different strategies to employ, and it always encouraged me to switch out because I didn't know what mission I was playing next. It was like, don't ever, you get a safe. And granted, there are some safe characters. Like by end game, if you ain't got Califia and Red Fox on your team, you're doing something wrong. Those girls are bad bitches, is all I'm gonna say.
yeah,
But like the game always encouraged me to change up my team and to switch out my squad. I like the shooting mechanic where if you got like headshots, you would do more damage.
yeah.
And then you had the different types of guns, and a lot of people compare it to Valkyria Chronicles, which I haven't personally played, so I can't really say how close it is to that. But I will say it's one of those games that's also challenging. God, I haven't played a challenging game in a while, and for the early half of 2015, that was my game. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. And like I said, I'm gonna open that up this year and play that sometime.
Are you?
Please do. Please play.
I'm thinking February. I don't know. Right before Bayonetta comes out. Smash. All right. So Derek Steel Fox, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Xenoblade Chronicles for the 3DS.
Nice.
Hey.
Forgot about that one for you. I forgot you bought that.
Yeah, no, it was good. I enjoyed it. I know I talked to Rel a lot more about it than anyone else because I didn't want to do spoilers for, like you who thought he might play it one day, and basically talking about that game to anyone is a spoiler. So the storyline was great. I really enjoyed that more than anything. You know the basic premise behind it, with the 2 titans that you live on. Just a really cool idea. I enjoyed it quite a bit. There's no way it's going to climb any higher on my list than that because by the end I was burned out. I was ready for it to be done. And for those of you that have played X for the Wii U, the amount of quests and things, the side missions can get so overwhelming, and I did not want to mess with any of them. I don't know if it was just because it was on the 3DS or the way they were handled, but there was just too much going on. I don't know what it was about that game that I just didn't want to spend all that time doing all that side stuff. There wasn't any real reward to it, I felt, I guess. But the storyline and the combat were good, and it definitely deserves recognition.
Yeah, I don't think my hands would have liked me very much if I had got hooked into that game with X, which I started using the Pro Controller after about 20 hours into the game. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna use the Pro Controller, have the gamepad right in front of me. So I don't know if I'm not very good holding the 3DS for too long, and I don't know if I would have liked uh, playing that on the 3DS, a game that takes that much time, but that's just me. I did enjoy it though enough to get me to buy X from what I played of Xenoblade Chronicles when you loaned it to me. So Shulk's kind of a whiny bitch in the beginning, though. I didn't care for that.
Respect Shulk like that.
Yeah, that was disrespectful, sir.
Yeah.
I know now. I know, like with X, I know the first couple hours were kind of tedious and hand holding, and I don't think I got past that with the first game.
You never even got the Monado, so no.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Did
But,
you get to
yeah.
know?
Oh wow, you didn't get the Monado?
I'd seen it, but they didn't know how to use it. Like it was dead or wasn't activated.
Oh, wow,
or whatever.
you were really early in the game.
I played it for like an hour and a half, and I liked the combat, and that's all I wanted to know. But so before we get to our top two, I thought we could do a dishonorable mentions. So I have one that I played, and then I have one that I was totally excited for, gonna buy, and then it got, for reasons, something came up and pissed me off, and I didn't buy. So my dishonorable mention for a game I played this year was freaking Runbow.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
God, the controls are just terrible. The stuttering frame rate, it's even though they kind of patched it, still happens a little bit. I thought maybe I had a bunch of people come over. I was like, all right, we're gonna play multiplayer because a lot of people said it's the best multiplayer on the Wii U, better than Smash.
Yeah.
No, that game's trash. Everyone hated it. No one wanted to keep playing it, and that's my just biggest waste of money this year. Even if I think it was only like $9, $10 or something, but what a piece of garbage. So, and then my other dishonorable mention has to go with Batman Arkham Knight PC version. I was totally going to buy that game, looking forward to it, and I forget where it was on my most anticipated of 2015 list, but the fact that they couldn't release a solid game, even to this point, I don't even think it's fixed. I think they tried to re-release it recently, but from what I could tell, it wasn't working right. So I'll never buy that game now. I don't care if I get a PS4, Xbox One. I'll never buy that game based on how they handled the PC version. I don't care how good the PS4 version runs. That's just absolutely unacceptable for a developer and publisher to do that. So those are my two dishonorable mentions. Anybody else have any that they played or?
Ooh, I have one.
Okay.
All right, I know you're going to be excited about this because I feel like you'll agree with me. The new Zelda game that came out.
Force Heroes?
Yes, Triforce Heroes. That I was really excited. I was 100%. I was going to get it. I was trying to talk other people into getting it. And then I played the demo, and I was like, nope, never again. Never going to do that again.
It was trash.
That was awful. I mean, and you know what? Things have changed. Things might have been better now. You know, I could probably get it and maybe play more with friends, but just that demo showed me how everything could go wrong, and I don't want to be a part of it, which is a shame because I really, of course, love the franchise, and I really think, like, if it was a dedicated single-player game, more than the emphasis on joining other people, like, I feel like if I played through it single-player, I'd be missing a huge portion of the game and the fun. But that said, playing with other people was a terrible experience. I just in the demo, of course, but it turned me off for buying it. I got into laggy group after laggy group where it was just miserable, took forever to do anything. I was with people who already knew all the puzzles, so they'd spent most time. I mean, we were in a hangout while we were doing that juice, and they were just picking each other up, throwing them off edges. They were just solving the puzzles. No one would go where they were supposed to go, and maybe they weren't taking it seriously as a demo, but I just thought, you know what? This is if this is the worst. I mean, I don't. Nope.
Yeah, even
Did
if
Robert find enjoyment out of that?
Robert said he liked it, but he likes everything.
I
So
haven't heard him talk about it since. If that
no,
matters.
I think he only played it for the 1 or 2 days, and then he's moved on. So, but yeah, that I'd agree. I forgot about. I played that as well, and I had a similar experience. It was terrible. But anybody else have a dishonorable mention? Anything you played or were gonna play?
Nah.
No one was excited for Devil's Third until we saw more.
I wouldn't. I was kind of I was neutral with Devil's Third, and then I got disillusioned. I guess Devil's Third and probably Batman, because Batman kind of. The problem with Batman is that like I knew that game was going to be amazing, but I am so angry with how that game turned out in certain areas, specifically the Batmobile stuff and the PC version debacle and the stupid DLC practice. What was that? What was it, like a $50-something
Yeah, and I don't even
DLC?
think any of that came out yet. Like,
No, some of it has the Batgirl stuff, the Nightwing, but like the problem is the Batgirl stuff is like the longest stuff is like an hour versus everything else is like 20 minutes or less. Like Harley Quinn's like 20 minutes. Robin is like 20 minutes. Fucking, it's just that game angered me because I love Arkham City. Arkham Origins is okay. I was more pissed at it because of the glitchy launch and shit, which apparently that just seems to be a standard now. We gotta have glitchy Batman game launches. But like, and then to hear about the story, and it's just like that just makes me mad as an ending to the Arkham City series. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah, they completely ignored Origins. Like, this is a
Well,
trilogy.
yeah, because Origins technically wasn't made by Rocksteady. Although I would argue Origins is probably a better game than Arkham Knight for a lot of different reasons.
I want to retract my statement. I actually want to thank Warner Brothers and Rocksteady for messing up that game, because now that I've seen the game and heard about it, I'm glad I didn't buy it because it doesn't. And I bought Arkham City after this year, after 3 years later, 2 years later, and that combat to me, after now playing Bayonetta 1 and 2, is so boring and just simpleton. Like, it's like press triangle to win. It's really is nothing revolutionary about it anymore. It was cool the first game, but
Yeah.
I'm glad they messed it up, because I'm glad I didn't give them my money. Not just because they fucked it up, but it doesn't seem like, to me, now that I've played Bayonetta, I don't think I can go back to that style combat. So, Rel, you didn't have any disappointments this year?
I'm trying to think of something that I mean, I want to say a game, but I don't feel right saying it.
Did you pick up Ultra Smash Mario Tennis?
Oh, I did pick that game up.
You did.
Oh,
Just like I got Triforce Heroes too. I
So-
did. But I don't know. I can't say Ultra Smash is disappointing because me and my daughter play it together and we have fun. So I mean, it's a super bare bones tennis game. I mean, I didn't know what more people expected. I do not think it was worth the price. I'll say that. I mean, I think it should have been like $20, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I didn't enjoy it. Me and my daughter have a good time playing it.
Yeah.
I wanna say a game that disappointed me, and it disappointed me because I'm not the really, like I told you in our group chat, I'm not really the creative type. I would say is probably Mario Maker, because I was thinking that it would bring out my creative juices, but it really didn't. I'm just not creative in the way like. And then when I play your levels, and then I play Red's levels, and then it's like, dang man, these cats is really putting a lot of thought into these levels. And then I gave you my one level, and you're like, dude, I died 7 times already in the beginning of the level. It was just kind of like, well, maybe this game's just not for me. So, I mean, I love Mario games, I love Mario platformers, but as far as creating the levels, not for me.
And I will say that new web portal has led me to find some of the best levels I've played in the game. That web portal's awesome for finding levels.
Yeah.
There's some stuff. I was playing a level last night that was so creative, man. I just couldn't fathom how someone thought to do the things they did. It was just amazing. It
Yeah.
was unbelievable, like the thought they had gone. Like you had to start off your little Mario, and then by the end you had a spiky shell on your head, and you had to break because spiky shells can break solid blocks. So at the
Mm.
beginning there's these solid blocks, but I had to go through all this stuff, get all these different power ups, and come back with the spiky shell on my head and break those blocks to get to the pipe to get to the end. And it was just so clever.
Mm.
So I would say, maybe try that web portal and play some other people's levels. You might find some more
Well,
enjoyment.
it's not really the levels. I mean, I just pegged it more as I look at it more of a creative game, like more of a game for people to create their levels and stuff.
Hmm.
So I'm not really, I'm more so enjoying the people's levels, but I mean, I think I only got like 13 hours in it, man. I mean, it didn't. It's just I'm not the creative type, I would say.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. So, all right, let's get in. Let's go our top twos here. Um, so we'll start with Derek.
Oh man, it gets intense. Top two.
I'm gonna. I don't even know what I know one of them, but I can't think of. Oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're
I
pretty
just don't know
obvious,
which
but
I
it's.
don't know which one could
I
be number one.
know. I don't know which one. I thought for sure it was gonna be the other way, but let me go and just say where I'm at right now. I'll tell you my number two, and at this point we probably already know why these games are good, so I'll just quickly highlight why I couldn't put it as number one. How about that? So,
All right.
my number two is going to be Xenoblade Chronicles X, which, I mean, I've put, Rel and I talk a little bit about it back and forth, but I've got over 100 hours into it, which for me is a ridiculous amount of time to put in a game in less than a month. Something I really like is the exploration. I think we all love that. I really do believe it raised the bar on similar games going forward. I mean, like I could never go play Xenoblade Chronicles 3DS again because suddenly those open huge levels would seem flat and bare, and those are big maps. But just by comparison, they're garbage compared to what X gives you. It's just gorgeous. I mean.
Hmm.
You travel the whole game on foot, and you can travel the whole game on foot, pretty much. I mean, even way out in Caldros, there's all those huge high areas. They give you platforms, you can run up them. You don't have to, and most of us probably won't. But they took the time to construct that, so it's sensible. It's not, and then it just, I really like that. No, see, here's two reasons I guess why I can't say it'll be my number one. First reason is that it is not a game. I mean, if I go through and I finish everything, I'm never going to go through this game again. I won't. I mean, because you make your character and you can change anything about them. If I don't like the appearance, the gender, the voice, the class, you can change anything whenever you want, which is great. I love that it's designed for one full playthrough. But that said, it will probably you got a big chunk of playtime at the end of 2015. It'll get a good chunk at the beginning of 2016, and then it probably won't see a lot of action ever again after that. I would think maybe years down the road if I ever want to replay it or something, but for the most part, probably not. Second is the online portion of it, and I feel like they probably hit the sweet spot they wanted, and that's that it's not fully online. You really don't have to do it, and then but it's there, so it's like it's not as much of an online experience that someone with like MMO history would want, but it's probably more online activity than people that just want a single player want. So you have a bunch of people who really want to do these squad-based missions, like myself. I'm always trying to go out and do them, and it's really hard because out of your 30-person squad, very rarely do you find a group of people that even want to spend time doing that. So these two sides in a small squad kind of fight it out. Like Juice, for instance, doesn't have any notifications turned on. If you join his squad, you might as well just fucking not even talk to him. He doesn't even know you're there. He has no. It's like I don't even know why. It's bizarre to me that he has no updates.
I just
like
joined the life hold now.
But that's perfect, And I always try and I like to see when other people join the squad. I can see kind of their updates, like, oh, keys to a skull, oh, cool, they did that, But those two sides battling it out, and I guess the fact that I won't play it more than once kind of held it back a little bit for me.
Yeah, that's fair assessment because all the joy and wonder of seeing the new areas open up to you would be gone on a second playthrough. So that's definitely I definitely agree with that. You guys there?
Yeah.
I'm here. We were all just. I think
Everyone went like
nodding
dead
along.
silent. So,
It's
Right.
but it is a beautiful game. Don't ever. Yeah.
yeah, I think that was a good approach to give because everybody knows what's good about the game, and to give why it was number 2 instead of number 1. I think that's kind of the approach I was thinking of taking, but now you did it, so now I feel like I can't do it. But anyway, Terrell, what was your number 2 game of 2015?
Same as Derek's. This is Xenoblade Chronicles X. I have about 60 hours in the game. I'll probably make mine relatively quick because Derek got to touch on everything. The only reason why it's not my number 1 is, for one, I haven't beaten it. 2, I'll probably run into the same problem. I won't play it again for a while. And probably my third reason is also just because it's one of those games. It's one of those few games this year that was like an experience, and like you can't replicate that experience. But at the same time, I feel like, because even though I probably won't play it again for a while, I probably will play it again just because of the openness of the side missions. If there is one thing I want to praise, is that the side missions have this weird kind of, you can take 2 choices and get different results. And if anything, I might play it for that. But if I ever do that, it won't be for a while. Especially with next year, how this year is going to start off. And February, don't even fucking talk to me, man. Fire Emblem and Smash, you ain't gonna say nothing to me at all, son. But Xenoblade is it's an amazing game. I love the scope. I love everything about it. But my number 1 is just too good, son. It's too good.
ASAP Rel, I have a feeling you're gonna say the same thing for your number 2.
Yeah, my number 2 is Xenoblade X, man. I mean, what can be said when what these other guys have said? I mean, I guess the reason why I would put it my number 2, I'm not, like I said, I'm not really a story guy, but I don't know, the story just doesn't grab me, and I don't know, I don't feel like a strong connection with the characters. That would be my main reason why I would put it at number 2.
All right. You don't like Lynn and Elma?
I like how Elma looks. I mean,
you phrased that very well.
I do like them. If anyone that I would say that I like the most, it would probably be Lynn. I just like her personality and everything. But
that's true.
I don't know the rest of them. I don't know. I don't know. Like, no connection with them.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Yeah. Have you seen the Lynn voice actor? I shared a few of her. She did a couple YouTube videos, and she's like mid-20s or early 30s or something. She's a really cute and really cool person. And it's almost odd that they said they purposely wanted to make her sound older. And it's like, yeah, they censored her outfits because she's 13, but then you make her sound older and give her a great personality, and it's almost like, so you want people to be to like her, and it's almost like they almost went the wrong direction. They should have just made her be an older character, I felt.
Yeah.
But I do agree.
I watched those.
Yeah, she's.
I like the appeal that she's 13, because you had this 13-year-old girl who lost her parents, and it's like.
And she's.
What? She lost her who?
Parents.
What are you talking spoilers out there for, boy?
Oh God, I forgot. That's relatively early on.
What happened to Earth? Where's Earth?
I forgot about that shit. But yeah.
I like her. They get a little tiresome towards 90 hours in the game. Her eating Tatsu jokes seems like that should have faded away halfway through where I'm at. Yeah. But that was really funny in the beginning. So, I got to give my number 2 now. And guess what game it is? Xenoblade Chronicles X. with 92 hours, 41 minutes.
What do you
I'll,
like about it,
I'll
Juice?
give the reasons it really impressed me first, and then I'll talk about why it didn't make the top. It was sitting at number one for a day or two, but
I
um,
I love that you love this game because this is not your genre. I
no,
just
Yeah, I love it too. I love that he loves this game. I didn't think he was gonna like it.
I gotta say, I don't want to. I mean, 40-50% of the appeal to me still is just the sci-fi element, the alien worlds, like the art direction. Noctilum looks a lot like my favorite movie, Avatar, and I still love every time I see it. It's still amazing. So that's a huge chunk. The size of the world is impressive, but to me, it's just the design of each continent, the diversity of the environments, and there's just so many little areas. There could have been nothing, but they put something, a plant, they put an animal, they put just I don't know if they created it randomly or if they actually meticulously went through every little nook and cranny, but it's just impressive. Like sometimes I'll just even before I got my flight module, I'd just be hovering over going out in the oceans and circled all the continents. Like I just did that once. It was just like I spent probably 30 minutes doing that. I just love the game, the world. Like I feel like I'm in Primordia or Mira. Like I feel like I'm there, and the blending the exploration as into the story, like the reason you're exploring has like legitimate reasons in the story. It's tied it all together for me. So, and the combat's really fun, strategic, and I got in this one mode before I got my skull where I'd hit the same arts every time, and I could topple them right away. Like I kind of turned my brain off for about maybe 10 hours there, and then once I got the skulls, and it got presented a new challenge and a new strategies and stuff. So the combat itself, if that wasn't fun, I'd hate this game. So the reason it isn't number one though is there's a few reasons. I would say some not really any technical issues, but the fact that like they have the reserve party member slots. There's four of them, but you can't do anything with them. As soon as you switch out a party member, they're gone. Now I know where they're located, but for a while there, I couldn't find some people. And some of the side missions, like you'll just see a question mark, and you go up to the person. It's like, I need these items, and you already have them. Oh, that's cool. And then another one, you'll be running back and forth, 5 different continents, going back to the man on ship 3-4 times for one side quest. It's not even an affinity mission, and I get to the point where I just hit start. I just skip every piece of dialogue and just I want to get it done. I'm a half hour into the stupid side mission, and it's something I don't care about. I already read the first 5 things of dialogue, and I'm like, I don't care about what's happening here, and I just started skipping the cutscenes and start skipping the dialogue, and I wish it'd tell you like, hey, this is a lengthy side mission. Hey, this is a short one. On the mission board, it kind of gives you a star rating, but the side quests, I've been stuck in a couple side quests that I just wanted to get out of, but I couldn't leave them unfinished.
Yeah.
And then the other problem is when it's an item you need, like a specific item in an area, and even if it tells you the enemy, I had to respawn in 25 or 30 times to get this electric, what was it, elemental cluster from an Oxerve in Sylvalum. I had to spawn in I lost count after 20, but it was between 20 and 30 times to get them to drop 2 of these things. And that was so frustrating that to the point where I didn't even want to, but it was for one of the affinity missions or something. It was for something important, so I couldn't not do it. And to me, like that kind of stuff really brings it down from number 1 to number 2 for me. So, yeah, that's my reasonings. Mike had Mario Maker as his number 2, which surprised me since he made a few levels, but he didn't really seem to play that game much after the first couple weeks. So he gave that his number 2, and his number 1 was Xenoblade Chronicles X. Even though he barely touched it, he felt like he was gonna love it. So sorry, Mike, I gotta call you out.
Wow, that was so cold.
He, as far as I can tell, he had under 5 hours in the game.
Well, what?
Jeez.
He
And
he probably ain't make it to the first chapter yet. What is this?
I think he did chapter 1, maybe.
Okay.
So, but he could tell he was gonna like it.
Okay.
So we're gonna break the order here. I'm gonna save my number 1 for last. So we're gonna go to ASAP Rel next for his number 1.
All right, my number one game is, and I don't want to hear nobody saying nothing because I didn't play this game when it first came out. So my number one game is Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. Uh, I I don't know. Like I've said already a few times in the podcast already, I'm not a story guy, but the story and just the connection with the characters, just I don't know, it did something that just had me just keep playing the game. I put 120 hours in it, I believe, last time I checked. I think it was 125. And all the characters you kind of form a connection with, kind of like you like, okay, I like this character for this reason. They're not kind of they're a little bit different than to me, they're a little bit different than the ones on X. And then, I don't want to give it extra brownie points for this, but I mean, what they pulled off on the 3DS in terms of how big the worlds look and everything, like I was like intimidated. Like when I first walked on Bionis Leg, I was like, well, this is probably it right here. This is probably where most of the game is going to take place, but there is so much more than that, even than just that right there. And I enjoyed the game like crazy. I mean, there's a lot of things about Xenoblade X that is better in terms of like with the battle system and with getting the side quests and stuff like that. But I don't know. It was just mainly what makes me like it more than X is. I would say is the story and just the connection you have with the characters. I'm a Shulk fan. I know you think he's a whiny little bitch, but I like Shulk. I like Rhine when he comes in there and he's talking about Rhine time. You know what I mean? The beast he's the beast on the team, man, and it's just a great game, man. I loved it, man. I actually am thinking about playing the game again. So
Damn.
and I don't do that. I don't play games twice. So
And
I,
I just want to say that definitely counts on this list. It released in 2015 on the 3DS. It's been 4 years since it was on the Wii to a limited release. I don't even barely consider this. It's more of a port. It's not like a remaster or anything, and
yeah.
it definitely counts for this list. I don't think there's any question about that. I know you were worried about that before we started, but that's definitely a 2015 title.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
All right.
It's kind of hard. It might be hard for Juice to go back and play that game, but it's a great game.
Yeah, I believe you. If it ever hits the eShop on the Wii U or something, I might pick it up.
All right.
So, Derek and Terrell, if you guys want to give your number ones and kind of bounce off your reasons off each other, I think that's appropriate because I know Terrell's for sure, and I'm pretty sure Derek's is the same.
Well, maybe Derek should go first so we can confirm it.
Go ahead, Derek.
Splatoon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Number 1.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll let you start it off, Derek, and I'll jump in.
Okay, perfect. So since the game released in May, people have continuously talked about all of the good things about the game. So let me touch on some things quickly that maybe aren't discussed as much. Okay, well, obviously we keep getting free content, so that's pretty cool. It got a lot of playtime in 2015, and kind of like Smash Brothers, this game probably will get a lot of playtime in 2016. And beyond, I would think, which really is the making of a great game to me, one that I'm going to continuously want to play alone or even with friends. So if that sets you up for anything, Terrell, please bring it on.
Oh, yeah, that sets me up for something. I gave one of the reasons why it's my number one is because it got me into a genre I didn't care about. I have never had any innate. Actually, Codename Steam did the same thing, but Splatoon did it to a higher degree. I never cared about shooters, so when I played it, I was surprised how deep I got into it. I think I have over 130 hours in the game as of currently, and I appreciate the little things. Like, this is like one of the first Nintendo games where I have a customizable character, which actually this NX actually. So, customizable character that feels like my own character, and I have my own specific clothing and items and weapons I can add to it and make it feel like it's mine. And it doesn't feel like, and then, and I like the way the world is set up, and I like the mythos that's being started. Now, granted, whether the sequel wants to take advantage of that and really expand on it or not, it's whatever. And just touching on, I think what you guys said earlier when y'all put it at your lower numbers, the boss battles. That final boss is literally, I would argue, the best boss I've played in like years. But if you have anything else, Derek, I'll let you.
That boss battle was fantastic. I have a couple negatives I'd like to point out, but if we're singing its praises right now, go for it.
No. You can go with negative. Well, I'll start off the negative then. I wish the local multiplayer got some more love. Not only in terms of like modes, but also in terms of like all the new DLC maps we got aren't on the local multiplayer, and that kind of irks me.
I definitely agree with that. It is odd that has been missed out so much. I mean, it almost contradicts everything Nintendo's done prior to that, where it almost seems like that's been their entire focus. Now they've just completely shifted things in another direction. And what's important to specify here is that people have been singing its praises, like I said, since May, since its release. It caught a lot of people off guard, and just in a good way. But here we are, making it our #1 game of the year. And I think we can actually talk about bad things about the game and still keep it at #1, which, again, that's another feather in its cap, if you will, of why it really deserves the spot, because we can appreciate it so much. So here is something that actually my playtime in the game has dropped, and it's not entirely because X came out. There's something about this game that's really kind of frustrating me, and it might impact me more than anyone else. But unless I'm playing with friends, I cannot, and I stress this, I really struggle to end up in a lobby that doesn't have 6 of the 8 players Japanese, and it's not it, and it's frustrating because there's always a couple players where there's some connectivity issues, and it really upsets me that I can't just play kind of stateside where there's going to be more stability with the connection.
Mm-hmm. So you wish there was a regional feature.
I really kind of wonder why there's not an option for that, because okay, we've all played it online quite a bit, and we had to have run into this, and it's probably a coined term already somewhere, but like the Japanese splatter shot user, the sniper, it just, when I'm going around and then I explode, and then I'm like, well, that was weird, and then you see who shot you, and you're like, well, I didn't even see like the target line or anything, and it just, and we've all, if you've played online, you had to have run into it, where it just seems like there's not a huge delay, but enough of a delay where you don't see that target line or something, and you cannot, counter it in any way. You have no way to really maneuver or hide from it when you don't see it. And a game, shooters are always susceptible to lag, and it always happens. You play Call of Duty, you kind of just get used to it. And maybe it's because this game has ink, but I feel like it's more noticeable to me in an annoying way because we're literally throwing color everywhere. So like when there's any delay, it's kind of like, whoa, there's supposed to be color, and like it's quick, but you notice it. You play it a lot. You can tell that you're not covering the ground in the right way or something. You kind of you see it, and I don't remember seeing that come up as an issue so much. Kind of when the game came out, like maybe I didn't notice it then, but I also feel like I'm playing with a lot more Japanese players than I used to, and I don't, maybe that's just because of the popularity in Japan. Do you have any thoughts on that, Terrell? Have you experienced something?
Yeah, because I was gonna say I totally agree. Actually, I know how a lot of people here don't like rollers. Snipers are my most hated user because of that reason. Because it's always that stupid. I'm swimming in the ink and then I just die, and I'm like, where did I get shot? And then you get to see who shot you, and you're like, he's across the damn map, and where the hell was the liner at? Like the lag to me is the worst for snipers in the sense that a roller you can at least see them in the vicinity. A sniper you can't see at all. It's just kind of like you'll just die, and it's frustrating. And I do think that the overabundance of Japanese players is due to how popular it's become in Japan. It's one of the few games I've heard about in recent memory. It's selling over 1 million in Japan. That's insane to me. And I agree that the game really would benefit from a regional feature where you could pick U.S. only or European only, or
Let me ask you guys this. I got in, and Japan's 11 hours ahead of us, so or 14, I mean. So if it's 2 p.m. here, it's 4 a.m. there. So if you play at 10 at night, it's noon for them. So, and in Europe, they're 8, they're sound asleep or whatever. So every time I play, even last night, it was me and I forget who joined first, and then 6 other Japanese players. Like, so if you played regional, is there really enough people in the U.S. still playing that game regularly at any given time to have successful lobbies? I don't know. It just seems like it's almost all Japanese. So it's like, is there?
Right, it's so overwhelming.
They're playing it so much more, or
I would argue it might be that there are more Japanese players than there are American players, but I don't think it's because there aren't any American players, because when like Splatfest happens, I get like a pretty balanced American versus Japanese. Well, then again, that's also
Japanese. They don't have
actually, yeah.
Each region has their own Splatfest, so yeah, it does seem to be fairly.
So it does have a region lock feature. It just only happens during Splatfest.
Right. And I love playing during Splatfest because, honestly, during Splatfest games, I have a string of fantastic rounds. I mean, I love it. And like when I lose, I get angrier at Splatoon, I'm going to say this, than I get at any other game I've ever played. Like, I'll play Smash, for glory, one-on-one, and you get, for some reason, some laggy match. And it's annoying, it's frustrating, but I know it hurts them too, and you can see it. Sometimes it'll cause them to screw up, and you just kind of roll with it. But it doesn't make me near as mad as like Splatoon, where I'll play and I'll have a normal. It'll be a really good round, and then you get a game where it's just there's just a little bit of lag, or there's enough lag,
and I think
it just your team makes no progress. You spend the entire time trying to get out of the zone, and it's just so frustrating.
Well, and I think that's also another thing. Japan has better internet than the U.S. does. So, like, we're lagging partially because of the distance and also because the internet is, like, trumping the shit out of ours. So they actually have more precise movement over us. And I think the other thing is that, and it's kind of the problem I have with, like, fighting games, too. Japanese players are so much better than American players that it's frustrating to play someone. It's like you're a level 5 and you're fighting against a level 60. It's like sometimes I appreciate the challenge, but when I'm playing Turf War, the mode that's pretty casual, and I'm getting murked, like I'm getting spawn camped. I'm like, at that point, it's like I can still enjoy the game, but like I'm more likely to put it down after that match.
All right, so
yeah,
we're getting a little negative focused, I think, on your guys' number ones, and
that's the direction I wanted to take it, but I don't change how I feel about it because
it's still my favorite game.
That's
it's
important.
The reason that it's not in my top 2 is because it relies too heavily on playing with a group of friends to be really stand out for me. Just going in a lobby by myself, I can play 3, 4, 5, 6 matches tops, and I'm bored and I turned it off. So that's why I didn't crack the top 2.
Well, I think that's the difference, because for me, I play ranked battle probably more consistently than you do, Juice. You kind of, I think your default is like Turf War.
And I used to play ranked battles until when it was just splat zones, and then I don't care for tower control with randoms and what's the other? We got Rainmaker, tower control.
Rainmaker, tower control, and splat zones.
I just don't like especially when like I turn on today and it's Walleye Warehouse and what was another map I've played since the beginning, and I'm just like, I want to play the new map and I can't. So
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's that's
But
probably the most hated thing about Splatoon is the map rotation.
yeah. So before I announced my number one game of the year, I've been meaning to ask this question in like the last three podcasts. ASAP Rel asked this awesome question, and I should have brought it up last week. But we're talking about DLC in 2015. Mario Kart 8, Smash Brothers both got some good DLC. A lot of people picked it up, and a lot of people played, those two 2014 games in 2015. So we're gonna answer this question right here, right now. What was the better DLC for the value and for just the content taking away the value aspect of it?
Oh, that's kind of split because I would say Smash is the better content in terms of enjoyment, but I think Mario Kart had the better deal
The
pricing
better
wise.
value.
Yeah, it had the better
I
value.
agree with that.
I think Mario Kart added a lot more content, quality content,
For
changed the
that
game,
price, man, that was
even
great.
without the price. I got a few characters in Smash right now. None of the rest of the game changed for me. I just can play as a couple different characters, and if I play with Red Knight, I can play some other maps because I didn't buy any of the other than the one that came with Ryu. For me, Mario Kart 8 DLC Pack 2 and the 200cc mode that was a free. The 200cc was a free update. Completely added 20 plus hours of offline for me. So that in itself was way more content and got a lot more. I played Smash more but I wasn't playing with that DLC characters and stuff all the time. Whereas Mario Kart, for me, it was both the better value and the better content overall.
Yep.
You agree,
I
Rel?
I agree. I think that Mario Kart, I don't know, it's just I don't know. Like just like you say, you getting these like for me, I get all the characters even if I don't like them because you bought. I think everybody knows how I'm kind of feeling about third party characters, except
Mm.
Bayonetta. But like all the other third party characters just in general. But like I don't know, I got excited over the Smash characters, the DLC characters, but the Mario Kart 8 DLC just had me, oh my God, like just had me giddy, man. I was just like, man, I can't wait to get my hands on this. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, I would say I enjoyed it more. And I've been having the itch just to play Mario Kart just in general. Like, I haven't had the itch to play Smash really that much, unless it's local and then, not really online too much. Because last time I played online with a couple of my buddies, I got raped. Uh, I hadn't put that down for a while, but
You don't like to lose either, so.
no, I don't like to lose, but I mean, I can handle it. But I mean, when I play with you guys, it's different rather than when I play like just with like against random people. Like I can handle a little bit better when I play against like friends or family. But like when it's just randoms, yeah, I definitely get an attitude. But
Well,
but
I can
the
say
Mario
that
Kart 8 better to me.
I played more Mario Kart 8 in 2014 than I did 2015,
Uh-huh,
and I think I played it a little too much too soon. And by
uh-huh.
the time DLC Pack 2 came out, I already played it a ton, like 200 plus hours. But I liked the actual content. Now with Smash, I was just kind of getting into the game come when Mewtwo came out, and then with Ryu, was like that's my most played game in 2015. Smash Brothers, 125, 130 hours this year alone, and it wasn't because of the DLC though. It was because Saturday night, Derek's like, "What are we playing? Let's play Splatoon or Smash." And it was Splatoon for like 3 months, and then now it's been Smash for the next couple months, and it's just been fun. Like I heard, 3, 4 players. I'll win a few matches here or there because someone screws up or something. But I lose almost every time, and it's like I still have fun playing it. So, but it wasn't because of the DLC for me. So that's why I went with the Mario Kart 8. So you guys ready? You ready for Terminator Juice's number one game of the year?
Edge of
Yeah,
my seat.
yeah.
Yeah. It was a tough call, but
No,
I
what?
went with the Order 1886.
I knew it. I knew it. I saw that coming.
Yeah, for the console you don't own.
You watched it on YouTube.
It was,
Yep,
it
that's
was,
all
it
I
was,
needed.
it was his favorite movie of 2016, 2015.
I was pressing triangle on my DualShock 3 while I watched and got through that game. No, no, honestly, it was Evolve. Got that on PC.
You're really gonna push this on, aren't you?
But once you bought all the extras, you know,
Yeah,
I mean,
once
it
you
was
paid
really,
$200,
it really
Once you
felt like it
pay
was
for
a
the
full
rest of
game.
the game, yeah.
you had a pretty decent game, but it still only had basically one game mode. But anyway, all right, it's no surprise here. Super Mario Maker, 117 hours, 55 minutes. Basically a dream come true game for me. And the level creator is just simple to use, intuitive, but really a lot of depth. A lot of this game, especially the last couple updates, there's actually a lot of unique aspects to this game that are in no other Mario game, and I think that's weird because everyone expected the updates to give them things they were used to, but instead they gave us like brand new things like the fire clown car, which you can basically make a shooter level. You got these bouncy donut-looking things. The P-switch doors, you kind of have there in some of the games. I guess there was some things that would appear when you hit a P-switch, but nothing like this before. And just everything else, like you put a wings on just about anything, and it changes their AI. It changes their what they do dramatically. Like you put a wings on a ghost, and it moves like 3 times as fast as a normal ghost. You put it on a fish in the water, and it's hard to predict where the fish is going to go, and it's like just little things like that were unique to this game. And I was surprised that they didn't just go with, okay, we're going to make everything you're used to in Mario games, and you're just going to be able to create some levels. And instead, they added all these unique things to this game that makes it stand on its own as not just, oh, well, it's not really a game because it's just, you know, Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario Brothers World creator. But no, there's so many unique elements. Putting the Mega or the Super Mushroom on an object, put just a combination of things you can do that make it unique. Playing levels, like I said, where you have a spike shell on your head and then you can destroy solid blocks. And that's what really surprised me was, like I said, all the things in this game that have never been done before in a Mario game, plus an amazing level creator. And now with the web portal, a really great way to find other people's levels, and the checkpoint flag, the additions they've made have really benefited the game. And the constant skins for like the NES style Mario game. Now they have the Excite Bike track or skin, and just a lot of work went into this game, making it unique that I did not expect. So I spent, out of my 118 hours, I would probably say 70 of that was creating levels, and the rest of it was playing, the pre-made levels and other people's levels. So I just can't believe that this game exists, really. Like every time I turn it on, a different day of the week, it's got a little different animation that happens to Mario as the game's loading. And then the music, it's got its little original music on the menu. And just how easily it is to get a level online, play a level, download a level. It's almost instantly. Just about everything about this game happens instantly, especially switching back from the themes. So it's just like, I'm not sick of platformers. I'm not like you guys. I could play if another 3D Mario game came out. I'd buy it today. I'd play it and love put 40, 50 hours into it. If a brand new 2D Mario game came out in a few months, I'd buy it and play it. Like I can't get enough. And this game gives me everything I need and more. And so yeah, it's pretty much the perfect game for me. The only problem is I can't turn it off when I turn it on, and I stay up past midnight on a work night. It's probably its biggest flaw. It's that I stay up way too late when I start playing it. So I just wish more people would have continued making levels. Red Knight stopped making levels. He made some of the best levels. Digital Green Tea made some of the best levels, and they stopped making them. So now it's like I just got to do the web portal and play random. So That's probably the only downside is the online community kind of they just left. They abandoned the game pretty quickly within the probably first month. So I probably could delete half the people I'm following because they don't make levels anymore, which is a bummer. So that would be the only negative. Is also, if people in a year from now, if no one's uploading levels, then all I have left is making levels for myself, which is honestly, I have just as much fun making and playing my own levels as I do playing other people's levels because it's just that fun to me. And
The happiest thing I ever heard.
I can make levels that I like. Like I make my Art of Flight levels because I love flying with the cape. I used to just spend hours in Super Mario World on levels, trying different ways to fly through the level on the cape without touching the ground and stuff. I would just practice that over and over and over. And the fact that I'm finding that hardly anybody knows how to fly with the cape. So I just make levels for me now, so I'm not going to expect to get more than 5 to 10 clears on one of those flying levels because people just can't do it. But for me, I really enjoy the making the level process, playing each section as I build it, and then going to sleep and waking up and like, oh yeah, I could do this with that section, and then coming up with a really cool idea and implementing it as soon as I get home, testing it, and it's just, like I said, it's like the perfect game for me. A platforming fanatic, and Mario is my favorite game series of all time, so it's kind of a no-brainer. So there you go. And it was a tough decision, though. I mean, it wasn't easy. Xenoblade was looking pretty good there. About 60 hours in, I was like, yeah, this is my game of the year. But then all those little side quests started kind of annoying me and dragging the game down for me. I still love the game, though. Like, I forgot to say, like last year, my number 5 game was Hyrule Warriors. That was like a C+ grade for me, like that game. Bayonetta 2 is my number 1. That was an A+. This year, Yoshi's Woolly World for me was an A. Super Mario Maker was an A+. So there wasn't much room. There's not much range there compared to last year. So it was a tough decision, but I feel pretty good about the list. I don't think I'll be regretting it next year like I was kind of last year's top 5 list. Put Mario Kart at 3, and I kind of wish I would have put it at 2 now. But anyway, that's it. So you guys have any final thoughts or anything? I guess looking forward to 2016 or something. We'll just wrap this up in a few minutes. But if anybody wants to say anything about my number 1 or just everyone else's choices, go ahead. We'll start with Terrell.
Not really. Everyone had games that they enjoyed this year, and all of them were quality. And that's the best thing you can look for in a top 5 list, is that you're all playing quality games. And considering we shared a lot of games, so it also means that Nintendo fans have great taste, apparently.
And we had nothing. We don't have anything to play, so we don't have any third-party games. So
Most of my list.
Yeah.
Most of all of our lists, actually, in a way.
Yeah, Fatal Frame, even though published by Nintendo, I'd still say third party.
Well, technically, so is Xenoblade.
Xenoblade's made by Microsoft, owned by Nintendo, but still. So I guess just a few minutes here. Derek and Rel, I haven't had John in a while. How did you feel about 2015 as a whole? As Nintendo fags, obviously didn't play any non-Nintendo
really
systems.
upsetting.
But how'd you feel about 2015 as a whole, and then compared to maybe 2014? Do you think how did it live up or hold up in comparison? We'll start with Rel.
I mean, considering the games that I've been playing, I feel like it held up pretty good. They had some good games come out this year, like some games that just came out that just kind of took me by surprise. Initially, Yoshi, I didn't think I was gonna like Yoshi that much because you guys, on the last top 5, I told you guys that what was that? Yoshi's New Island. Yeah, that was like one of my disappointments. But Woolly World was a great game, but Kirby really took me by surprise, and then like I said, Xenoblade 3D, that game kind of set me up to see if I wanted to get X, and I ended up getting sucked into that game. So I mean, it was a good year for me, especially even if you compare it to that, and even compared to 2014. I mean, we got our online game, we got We got Splatoon, which is still crack right now because I want to play it, and you know, and I think it compares fine. Stacks up good.
Yeah, and I think last year had bigger name titles. This year had more games and more diversity, I thought. What do you think, Derek?
I'm gonna agree with what he said. Gosh, 2014 was a great year. We had Mario Kart, we had Smash, obviously some huge hitters, which we and everyone else, Nintendo knew those would be big hitters. So they were great. But then this year came around and they had a lot of games, and maybe Nintendo didn't know it would be as strong of a year as it was. Like they didn't know how Splatoon was going to do. X came out pretty late in the year. Mario Maker, that's something new. They probably had a good feeling about it, but all of those games uh, are great. They should all be recognized. It was a really, really good year for games for Nintendo.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
double dipped in Splatoon.
Yeah, I mean,
I got the physical and then I got the digital. So I mean, it's a dope game.
you're only human, man.
I mean, I know. I had to play it at 9 o'clock my time. There was no.
Oh, I was tempted to get the digital version too, just for the convenience of it all.
Yeah,
I thought
it's
about
great
that.
not taking out the drive. Yeah.
But the thing is, for that 3 months, I didn't have any other games really. So
Yeah.
Mario Maker, so that was why I didn't. But Mario Maker, I'm still debating double dipping and buying the digital version because the only reason I don't have 150 hours in that is because half the time I have X in the system, or I had Yoshi's Woolly World in the system. I'm like, I'll just play those instead.
Yeah.
And that convenience of you can have the one game in your disc tray, and then you can have another game digital. You can just easily go back and forth. It
Yeah,
sounds lazy, but it's once you do it, once you go have some digital games.
it's making me rethink of how I think about physical games now, because like it's just so easy, man, to back out and just okay, I'm playing this game now.
Going from Smash to Mario Kart for me
That's
is
all
just
I do. You know that.
Yeah.
But I'm just too lazy to go to the store. So imagine how I would feel about using the disc drive.
it does hurt a little bit though to know that if my hard drive takes a crap, then I'd have to re-download the game. I lose my save file, and then years down the road, how long is that hard drive going to be good just sitting there with games on it? Like if I want to plug in my Wii U in 10 years, depending on what Nintendo does for transferring your digital purchases,
Yeah.
it could be a problem. I'm worried. So I'm actually thinking about buying the big games physical.
Well, hopefully they get that all taken care of with that account system that they got
Mhm.
going on. Hopefully.
Oh, the cloud saves, man.
Yeah.
Cloud saves would be nice, and transferring my digital games to the NX would be huge.
Yeah.
So, all right. Just what do you guys think for 2016? There's not hardly any games really announced compared to the last few
It's a
years.
mystery year, man. That's exciting.
Yeah, we
You
know
know?
about Star Fox, we know Zelda, we know Pokken Fighters, we know Twilight Princess HD, and we know about
Final Fantasy Explorers for 3DS comes out this month, so
Yeah.
that's a pretty big
the
deal.
3DS is looking better this year than last year.
Yeah, it is.
The Wii U, as far as those 4 games, we know Pikmin 4 is being made. We don't know what system, so this could be a weird year, especially if the NX doesn't come out. Then what the hell do they have up their sleeve? If this could kind of be a big drought summer if Pokken Fighters is the big May game, and then Zelda in the fall, that would be a pretty terrible gap, in my opinion. So what do you guys think?
Well, I got games to look forward to anyway, because Fire Emblem is in February. I don't know when Bravely Second is coming out, but I'm hoping to God it's at least in like spring. Fire Emblem Cross Shin Megami Tensei, I'm pretty sure that'll be like an after summer game, like August or September. Pokken March, and it also does hinge on what's happening in terms of new consoles for Nintendo. That I'm hoping that's 2017, and I'm hoping we get Pikmin 4 on the Wii U. I'm also hoping that we get like that game from Retro, even though a lot of people think that's going to be an NX thing. But other than like, I still have like most of Star Fox in April, so I'm still pretty psyched. I mean, overall for what we currently have, I'm still pretty excited because I know I'll be playing both the Wii U and the 3DS this year, relatively consistently. Plus that Smash in February, so
The Bayonetta.
yeah, they're Corrin, anyways. We'll be playing that up until at least April, probably. So
Yeah, that hopefully they could do something to reinvigorate Splatoon in 2016. More than just, oh, we got 2 new maps that you might see once a week. I think they need to do, if they're going to not have the NX in 2016, I think they need to get some Splatoon DLC, single player mode, expansion, plus new online modes or something. Change it up quite a bit to get people to excited about that game if the NX isn't coming out in 2016.
It's about time we start paying for that DLC, right?
Yeah.
Well, they already said they're not doing paid DLC.
They did say that, but I wouldn't pay for just maps because, like I said, Piranha Pit, I missed the opening day.
Well, it's not justified to do it now.
I had to play, we had to do private matches so we could play Piranha Pit.
What'd you think? I liked it, man.
It's a cool map.
It's a fun map.
But I just think they need to get rid of the 2 maps every 4 hours. It's just ridiculous. I mean, maybe every hour if they're going to stick with 2 maps at a time, do it hourly.
Yeah, we thought voice chat was the biggest concern.
I actually said that if you got my Splatoon direct impressions, anybody wants to check that out, I actually said I was concerned about the 2 maps every 4 hours. Like, just from then, I knew it was going to be an issue, and it turned out to be. So, but overall, I think the chances of the NX being released in 2016, I think it's about 70% chance of it in the U.S. I think Japan's going to get it in 2017.
Oh yeah, because a lot of the games that came out already in the States that haven't come out, that are coming out next year, Japan already has. Like, they already have Fire Emblem Cross Shin Megami Tensei. They already have Fates. They already have Paper Jam. They have.
But they're just now getting into the Wii U with Splatoon. Like, it's selling really well this year.
Yeah.
So,
and they got X back in April. So yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, they would be running out of games quicker. I think the fact that it's selling like crazy right now, and it'll taper off now in January, February, but
probably.
I'm almost thinking that Splatoon craze isn't going to go away. I think it's only still building, so they might want to maybe not release a console worldwide in Japan because they don't get hard for consoles anyway usually. So
no.
But what do you guys think the chances of NX hitting in the U.S. in 2016?
I'm going to still say 50-50 personally.
It's a tough call.
Yeah,
I mean, if they do, we're probably all thinking it'd be the holiday season, of course, right? They'd have to let us know soon.
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't drop that on us in October, like, hey, coming out in November, because that'd be pretty lame. I
think if they announce it, it'll be within the next month or two. Because
you think so? You think they would just?
I'm
after
talking
this Nintendo Direct, go to your nearest store.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, because if you announce that a new console's coming out and
it does stagnate sales. I get what you're saying, but
because if you do it in June. Let's say you do it at E3. Well, what's that, 4 months? You're trying to notify the entire world about a new console, and you're giving them 4 months. Usually you need at least a good, almost a borderline year for people to and almost every console manufacturer does that.
Well, the PS4 they officially revealed it in February, came out the same year, and
that's what I'm saying. If we're gonna get an NX announcement, I think it'll be within the next few months.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying then. Yes.
Yeah, so if we get to March or April and we haven't heard anything, then I would argue it's probably not coming out this year.
Right. Okay, that's where my head is. I misunderstood.
My gut's telling me that you won't hear about anything until E3.
Yeah, and if I don't hear about it until E3, I don't think it's coming out this year. I think it'll come out next year. Yeah, that's the case.
What about you, Raleigh? What's your feelings? What do you think?
I was thinking it was gonna come out this year, and then after I started looking at these sales in Japan for the Wii U, I was like, I don't know. Will they do it? Will they launch it? I mean, because like you said, Splatoon craze seems like it's for reals. Like it doesn't. I don't know, man. It's
And the
outselling.
game's it's at 3.3 million sold. So if they were thinking of porting games to the NX, I mean, the Wii U games they're selling because they don't have any competition with no third-party games to compete with.
Mhm.
They're making pretty good money with releasing a new system, putting Retro's game on it at launch. I mean, what's going to sell more, the putting on Wii U or putting it on the NX? I mean, you never know. So it's going to be interesting. I just hope we have a Nintendo Direct either this month or early February. I'd like to think they'd do one around the time of Fire Emblem, before Fire Emblem comes out, even though we got everything we need to know about the characters in Smash and stuff. I think it'd be nice if they'd come out with a January Direct and kind of set the tone for the year.
Yeah, because I think the January Direct would be a good way of gauging whether we're going to get something. If the January Direct has like a good number of new announcements, or at least teases for new announcements, then I would almost borderline be like, nah, it's coming out next year. But if like it's pretty bare bones and just like slight updates, and I'm like, it might come out this year.
hmm And I'll be buying it. So.
Yeah, Day one.
You know, the Wii U made me. The Wii U gave me such a good performance that I probably would buy their next console right away. And Juice, I usually don't go that way. I usually do wait. I waited with the Wii U, but I'd be so excited to see what they have coming up, just because the Wii U did so well for me, for what I wanted.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, because I waited too. I didn't. The Wii was like the first Nintendo console since like the N64 that I didn't get when it first came out. I got it like in the middle of 20. I got it like right before the stuff in 2013. I got it like in the summer, and I was mad because that was in the price drop. It happened like a few months later, and I was like, "Fuck! I should have just waited." But I'm the kind of guy who likes to get the console before the game, so I don't have to buy all of them at once.
Yeah. I will say, like, the Wii U to me is my favorite home console of all time, and it's easy to say, like, while it's still like relevant, there's no hindsight now, but just the amount of amazing games, the Miiverse, the touchscreen, simplifies navigation and messaging. I love sharing pictures on Twitter. Like, for me, the Wii U is hands down my favorite game console of all time. Now, the NX might come out and be so different that I might be like, this is not the direction I wanted to go, but it's going to be hard to pass up 3D Mario game if it's at launch. It's going to be hard to pass up that system. And it sucks that the Wii U, being my favorite, could potentially only have a 4-year lifespan. That part of it kind of sucks, but I don't regret the purchase. I paid $380 with tax. Got it at launch, and I have no regrets. I have plenty of games, plenty of time in the system, and I'd gladly play it for another year plus. But I'd also, Nintendo's got to make a decision because it's not selling. It's not gonna ever pass probably 13 million if it's lucky. So they had to make a decision. They have to move forward, and I think a new console is the right call. So it's kind of bittersweet for me. But
I can understand that personally. I don't know. I have to wait a while before I make a decision whether it's my favorite, but I know it's probably in my top for Nintendo consoles. And I think that's part of the reason why I keep thinking it's coming. The new console is not coming out in 2017. Part of me thinks the reason why I feel that way is because I don't want the Wii U to end like this. Like I feel like there's more I want to see from the console, and so it irks me that it's like, it's not selling well, so we gotta put it in the corner and gotta push this new little NX console. I'm like, man, I want. Like, that's one of the reasons why I was hyped about Pokemon Tournament. I was like, I feel like it was actually one of the reasons why I was mad about the whole people thinking that Zelda was going to be on NX. Like, I want the Wii U to have its own Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
I want the Wii U to have its own main series Pokemon game. I want the Wii U to have its own representation, so it doesn't feel like it was. So when people look back at it, it doesn't feel like it was just it bombed. So we just everything jumped ship from it. right now it's just gonna feel like a GameCube 2, which is what a lot of people equate it to.
Yep.
If the GameCube didn't have the first party lineup that the Wii U already has, plus the Wii U was getting Star Fox and Zelda. So the GameCube had a lot of third-party games that people kind of blended in with the Nintendo games,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I mean, it's a valid reason to like the GameCube because it did have a ton of third-party games. But for me, those first-party games were lacking big time. And but anyway, let's wrap this up. It's been a little bit longer than I thought, so we're gonna end this. Top 5 games of 2015, the first podcast of January 2000, our first podcast of 2016, and hopefully, we'll be back to do another podcast in a year from now with some really awesome games on our top 5, maybe a 3D Mario game on there, so Pikmin 4 maybe. So it's exciting, and it's also a little bit sad to think about to potentially be the last year of the Wii U. So. Yeah, that's going to be it for this podcast. I want to thank my guests for joining me, and I'm glad we didn't have all the same games, even though our number 2 game was the same across the board. And basically, most of our games, other than Derek's, were pretty similar. But it's been 2015 was a good year. I'm looking forward to 2016 though, and appreciate everybody tunes into the Juices Loose, especially on a special night, Saturday night. And yeah, we're gonna see you back a week from Monday, which would be, I forgot to look what the date was, but anyway, the Juice Loose will be back in about 10 days. So we'll see you then, and have a good night.